While many aspects of life came to a screeching halt as a result of COVID-19, there were some things that did have to continue as planned, and labors and deliveries were just a few of those things. Today, we're joined by Cassandra Shuck, pregnancy, labor, and bereavement doula, and the CEO of Milk and Cookie. How are you?
Hi, I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being with us. So this is an important topic. Of course, we've got expectant mothers all over the country concerned about their pregnancies, their deliveries, and then keeping their little ones safe after they've arrived. So how does that stress affect labors and deliveries?
Yeah, so stress is one of the major things you want to avoid if you're trying for a natural childbirth. One of the things we're seeing in the industry right now is an increase in C-sections. And really the scientific kind of reasoning behind that is the body needs oxytocin. Oxytocin is the love hormone. And that's what really helps push a labor along. Stress is actually one of the things that takes away from the oxytocin. It produces adrenaline. So we're seeing it even to the point of when a mama is in labor, all of the stress build up from COVID, and then the stress actually during pregnancy and not knowing what's going to happen after.
Absolutely. And for those who are just way too nervous to even attempt a hospital delivery right now with everything that's going on, what are some of the options that they have or things they should be thinking about?
Yeah, so hospital delivery is still an option for a lot of people. There are a lot of regulations when it comes to who can come in and who can attend and who can be your labor partner. We're seeing an increase in home birthing and then birthing centers as well. Birthing centers tend to be a little bit more relaxed when it comes to the rules, depending on what state people are in. And then home birthing is as well getting an increase in kind of a resurgence as using a home birth midwife.
Very interesting. And you know, some folks might not even be aware of the many different options and avenues that people take in order to safely bring a little one into the world. So you're a survivor of post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD. What was your experience like, and what would you say to new moms who might have a PTSD experience from their labor and delivery during a pandemic?
Yeah, so my PTSD was triggered by a miscarriage that I had about 10 years ago. And for when I birthed my daughter, I have a 2.5-year-old little girl. There was a lot of mindset things that I had to work through, basically to have me overcome the birth process and the birth that I actually wanted. So we typically go into births with this ideal of how it's going to happen, how we're going to experience it. You know, it looks like the movies and our water is going to break and we're going to, be in full makeup with full hair. And that's not actually the case. So one of the things is actually that I coach a lot of my clients through is to release the expectations of what we think our birth should look like and what we think our delivery process should look like. And that relieves a lot of the stress too that comes from that.
Okay, so even after you have successfully and in the healthiest ways delivered your baby, brought them home, there's still some things to be thinking about during a pandemic. Of course, they can't express themselves through words, but they can certainly feel the stress associated with this very stressful and unprecedented time. So what suggestions do you have for new mothers that are trying to tackle this?
Yeah, so the first thing that I suggest all of my moms to do is to focus on what they can control. There's a lot of things that are still within their control, even amidst a pandemic, whether that be who goes to the grocery store, who's taking baby out, who's coming over and being welcomed into the house. And one of the other things that I also encourage moms to do is to look at their routine and their structure, because they can still plan ahead and then plan what they need to do in order to make a new normal almost.
And you've developed Milk and Cookie, which offers lactation products for new moms, but it's really become a community. Tell us about the products and that amazing community.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had an issue breastfeeding when I had my daughter, and I assumed, like everyone assumes, that it would just be, it's natural, it would be easy, and that was not the case. So we actually produced a product. It's a lactation support cookie and herbal tea, and we became more of a movement and more of a community. So we have a group of over 7,000 people, moms, both moms who have multiple kids, who have single kids, who have kids who are 5, 6, 7, and then newborns. And really that became a supporting community of just one another supporting the breastfeeding journey of whatever that looks like.
Amazing. And we so appreciate you sharing that with us. I know this is so important, and new parents have so much to think about. We all have so much to think about right now. So combining those two things together can be particularly stressful, but also important. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.